Hi, my name is Josh Kartchner, and in this video, I'm going to be answering the question, what are Agentforce's data storage rules? To start, I'd like to go through 6 points that are common in the Einstein Trust Layer. The Einstein Trust Layer is a tool that Salesforce uses to make sure that we have high levels of confidence in terms of safety and outputs in Salesforce AI. So the 6 main principles that we're going to discuss today are zero data retention, dynamic grounding, prompt defend, data masking, toxicity scoring, and audit. So to begin, I'd like to talk about zero data retention. So any AI that we're interacting with for Salesforce Agentforce is typically going to be an LLM, which is a large language model. Essentially what this is a large input of data that is run through AI and then produces text outputs. So in this case, Salesforce partners with OpenAI and Azure OpenAI as their LLM, and they also enforce zero data retention policies. So it's worth noting that a lot of data LLM models do allow for using the data to feed their models, or we can exclude inputs from models that are shared by everyone. So for example, I've come into the OpenAI data controls FAQ. So this is ChatGPT. And if you look at this setting page here, you can see that you have the option to turn on or off, improve the model for everyone. This is ChatGPT's version of controlling what is being fed into the model that is referenced by everyone else. So in terms of zero data retention, in this case, Salesforce does not retain data to be used by other people. The next principle here is dynamic grounding. So essentially what this means is when you're working in Salesforce, Salesforce uses the principle of least access. And essentially what that means is users start out with the bare minimum in terms of access. That same principle can be applied to Agentforce agents. So for example, if I come into this flow within Salesforce, you can see this is pretty straightforward. If I want to debug this flow and run it as another user, I can run it as the Einstein service agent user, for example. If I run this flow as the Einstein service agent, the flow needs to confirm that I have all the correct permissions. So in this case, the Einstein service agent user does have permissions to access contacts, to read and edit them. But if the service agent user did not, this flow would fail. So essentially what this means in terms of dynamic grounding is the principle of least access that's applied to all users is also applied to agents. You have to grant them access to certain data for them to be able to interact with it, whether that's reading or editing it. In terms of prompt defense, the Einstein Trust Layer has policies in place that limit hallucinations and other harmful outputs. This is pretty common in most LLMs. It's a safeguard that's in place to make sure that the LLM isn't generating anything that's offensive or biased, anything like that. The Einstein Trust Layer accounts for that to make sure that responses are not only accurate, but not inappropriate or anything like that. In terms of data masking, this is another principle used by Einstein Trust Layer. In a nutshell, data masking is a cybersecurity technique where sensitive information within a data set is replaced with artificial, essentially real-looking data. That way, any data that is sensitive can't be viewed by human eyes. It is essentially masked so that you can't see what the real data is. So next we have toxicity scoring. And essentially this means that Einstein Trust Layer is going to score new information as inappropriate or anything like that, kind of like I already mentioned in one of the earlier slides. It's also worth noting that this information is stored in Data Cloud. And as we'll see in a second on this next slide, audit is another part of Einstein Trust Layer. So as is common with many of these chatbots, we don't want our prompts and responses just going away. We want to be sure that we can look at those in the future should we need them. just to make sure that the models are working properly and we can provide any feedback if needed. So that's a high overview of what are Agentforce's data retention rules. If you'd like to learn more about this, feel free to go to solve.cloud. We have several different resources on our website specific to Agentforce and Salesforce AI. We also have our YouTube page, and we have a LinkedIn page as well. So if you've enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and thank you.